The Ravens' recent loss to the Patriots has sent shockwaves through Baltimore, and the debate around John Harbaugh's decisions has only intensified. One of the hottest topics has been the handling of Derrick Henry in the closing drives, and the questions surrounding why he wasn't on the field during crucial moments have dominated conversations across the league. Harbaugh addressed this issue directly, admitting that in hindsight, he would have put Henry in the game, but emphasized the complexity of in-game rotations and real-time decision-making. He explained that the rotation decision was largely left to his staff, particularly Willie Taggart, who discussed the start of the drive with Derrick Henry. The idea was to go with Catton Mitchell to begin, and although in retrospect Harbaugh would have overridden that choice, he stressed that it's not as simple as just making a call on the spot. The decision-making process in the heat of the moment involves multiple layers, communication, and trust in the coaching staff, which can make the optimal choice harder to enforce instantly. Harbaugh admitted that ideally, he would have intervened to ensure Henry was involved, especially in those critical drives, acknowledging the criticism from fans and the media. He pointed out that even having Henry on the field without necessarily giving him the ball would have forced the Patriots to respect his presence, a factor Catton Mitchell, despite his strong performance this season, doesn't command at the same level. Analysts and former players alike have been stunned by the decision, noting that the absence of Henry in such key moments defies conventional wisdom and highlights a recurring theme in the Ravens' strategy, a tendency to overcomplicate end-game scenarios when clarity and star power should dominate. The contrast between Catton Mitchell's capabilities and Derrick Henry's sheer dominance on the field has been stark, and the team's handling of that dynamic has raised legitimate concerns about in-game management and prioritization of player strengths. The discussion isn't just about a single play or a single game. It's reflective of a broader pattern that has appeared multiple times throughout the season. The Ravens' approach to rotations and situational strategy has repeatedly sparked debates, especially in high-stakes moments where decisions can define the trajectory of the season. Harbaugh's willingness to delegate is a coaching style that has merits, but it also exposes vulnerabilities. When quick adjustments are critical, observers have highlighted that the head coach ultimately bears responsibility for these calls, and the hesitation to step in decisively when necessary has been a point of frustration for many fans and analysts. In scenarios where the season is on the line and a team has a proven star running back, conventional wisdom would dictate riding the hot hand, yet the rotation decisions have sometimes contradicted this principle, creating avoidable complications. The Ravens' struggles in clutch moments have been evident not only in the Henry situation, but also in other critical plays, such as third down conversions and red zone efficiency. Harbaugh addressed these points by highlighting the complexities of defensive scheming and the need to balance offensive threats. Yet the public perception remains that these decisions have occasionally undermined the team's chances. Critics argue that while trust in the roster is important, the head coach must intervene when the circumstances demand clarity, and the pattern of overcomplication has overshadowed what should have been straightforward strategy. This tension between delegation and decisive leadership has been a recurring theme throughout Harbaugh's tenure, particularly in the postseason, where execution under pressure is non-negotiable. Adding to the scrutiny is Harbaugh's long-term position with the team, which has come under the microscope after consecutive seasons that have ended with disappointment in critical playoff situations. Even with regular season success, the Ravens have struggled to translate that into deep postseason runs, creating ongoing debate about whether a new voice or strategic adjustment is necessary to push the team over the edge. Harbaugh himself has been reflective, noting that his focus has always been on day-to-day coaching rather than job security, emphasizing that his priority is preparing the team for the next opponent and maximizing their immediate performance. However, the surrounding narrative continues to question whether his methods are sustainable, particularly in high-pressure scenarios where immediate clarity and star utilization are paramount. Steve Bisciotti, the Ravens owner, plays a pivotal role in this equation, as any decisions regarding Harbaugh's future ultimately rest with him. Observers have pointed out that Bisciotti has historically been a hands-on owner who pushes for competitiveness, making this one of the most consequential decisions he has faced in his tenure. The dynamic between the coaching staff and ownership, combined with the Ravens' performance fluctuations throughout the season, has created a situation where every choice is under intense scrutiny. From early season losses that sparked national ridicule to moments of redemption, the team's narrative has swung dramatically. leaving fans, analysts, and former players questioning the consistency and strategic clarity of the franchise beyond coaching decisions. There are broader structural concerns affecting the team's trajectory, the handling of personnel, especially high-impact players like Derrick Henry, signals a tension between delegation and authority that can ripple through the locker room. While the regular season offers opportunities to experiment with rotations and strategies, the playoffs and late-season games demand decisive action that leverages proven talent. Critics argue that repeated missteps in these scenarios, including the choice to start Catton Mitchell over Henry at critical moments, reflect a systemic issue in the decision-making chain rather than isolated incidents. The media attention surrounding these topics has only amplified the pressure, putting Harbaugh and his staff under a microscope where every call and every rotation is analyzed and dissected. Despite these challenges, the Ravens have demonstrated resilience at various points in the season, recovering from early setbacks and showcasing the potential of their roster. Wins against formidable opponents, including strong divisional rivals, have highlighted the team's capabilities and hinted at what could be achieved under optimal conditions. Yet, the recurring theme of faltering in high-stakes moments undermines the narrative of consistency and elevates questions about leadership, strategic clarity, and the execution of fundamental game plans. Harbaugh's experience and rapport with players are assets, yet the complexity of modern NFL management requires a balance between delegation and the assertive, in-the-moment decision-making that defines successful postseason runs. All of these factors converge around a central question: how does a team with immense talent and proven capabilities consistently fall short when stakes are highest? The answer, according to many analysts, lies in the nuances of coaching philosophy and game adjustments, and the ability to assert authority decisively when circumstances demand it. The Ravens' situation with Derrick Henry exemplifies this tension vividly, illustrating how even minor deviations from expected strategy can have outsized consequences in critical games. Harbaugh's commentary underscores the challenges inherent in balancing trust, delegation, and decisive leadership, yet it also highlights the friction between intention and execution that has characterized the Ravens season. This season has been a roller coaster for Baltimore, with moments of triumph and despair interwoven in a narrative that reflects both the potential and the limitations of the current roster. And coaching staff, fans, and analysts alike continue to dissect every choice, from rotations to play calls, searching for the patterns that explain the team's repeated struggles in pivotal moments. The Derrick Henry episode is emblematic of a broader debate about leadership, strategy, and accountability, one that has dominated conversations from local fan forums to national media outlets. As the Ravens navigate the remainder of the season, the spotlight on Harbaugh, his decisions, and his relationship with the roster will remain intense, reflecting the high stakes and passionate scrutiny that define professional football at this level. As the Ravens try to regroup after the brutal loss to the Patriots, the conversation naturally shifts toward John Harbaugh's future and what it means for the team. Moving forward, the scrutiny surrounding his decisions, particularly regarding Derrick Henry and crucial in-game rotations, has cast a spotlight not just on his coaching style, but on the broader philosophy of how the team manages high-pressure moments. Harbaugh has spent nearly 2 decades shaping the Ravens, building a culture of competitiveness and regular season success. Yet the playoffs have repeatedly exposed cracks that have become impossible to ignore. The tension lies in the balance between trusting his staff and asserting authority when it matters most, a dynamic that has been tested time and again during late-season games and critical drives. Ownership's role, specifically Steve Bisciotti, cannot be overlooked. Harbaugh has consistently praised Bisciotti's leadership and competitive drive, acknowledging his influence and support. Yet, with the team's postseason chances hanging by a thread, it's clear that any decisions about Harbaugh's tenure will ultimately rest on Bisciotti's assessment of whether the current approach is sufficient to achieve long-term goals. Analysts across the league are dissecting what this decision could mean, not just for Baltimore, but for the perception of accountability and ambition in NFL organizations. Harbaugh has emphasized day-to-day focus, insisting that coaching is about maximizing each opportunity, rather than worrying about job security. Yet the reality remains that in professional football, legacy and performance are intertwined, and seasons of disappointment cannot be ignored. Looking at the roster, the Ravens are in a delicate position. Lamar Jackson remains a transformative talent, yet he will be 29 next year, and the window for peak performance is finite. The offensive line, defensive schemes, and supporting skill players must all align to convert potential into playoff success. Harbaugh's strategy often emphasizes delegation and trust, allowing coordinators and staff to manage specific aspects of the game. While this can create opportunities for innovation and player development, it also introduces vulnerability, particularly when communication and execution fall short under pressure. The Derrick Henry scenario is a microcosm of this challenge, even with a clear star capable of altering the course of a game. The hesitancy to assert authority resulted in a missed opportunity that reverberated far beyond a single series. The debate extends into the philosophical realm of coaching itself. Is the head coach's primary role to empower his staff, or to intervene decisively when the situation demands it? Harbaugh's career has been marked by a blend of both approaches. Yet the modern NFL increasingly rewards assertive, adaptive leadership, particularly in high-stakes, late-game situations. Fans and analysts alike have highlighted patterns where the Ravens have overcomplicated decisions in critical moments, a recurring theme that raises questions about whether the coaching philosophy has kept pace with the demands of elite-level competition. The contrast between regular season success and postseason performance underscores this tension, illustrating that talent alone cannot compensate for lapses in strategy and decisiveness at the highest level. National attention has also amplified the scrutiny, with every play, rotation, and sideline decision examined under a microscope. Former players, media analysts, and even casual observers have weighed in, often echoing similar frustrations about the handling of star talent and situational strategy. The pressure on Harbaugh is compounded by the team's history of playoff disappointments, which has created an environment where every decision is viewed through the lens of its potential impact on postseason success. Even victories against strong opponents are often overshadowed by lingering questions about whether the team can consistently execute when stakes are highest. The Ravens' narrative this season has become a study in contrast, moments of brilliance tempered by recurring patterns of hesitation and missed opportunities within the locker room. The implications of these decisions are profound. Players notice when star talent is underutilized, or when rotations fail to reflect situational priorities, and this can affect trust and cohesion. Harbaugh's ability to maintain strong relationships with his roster is one of his defining strengths. Yet repeated strategic missteps in high-profile games risk eroding the confidence of players who rely on clear, decisive leadership. The interplay between coaching philosophy, player dynamics, and real-time decision-making has never been more apparent than in the Ravens' late-game scenarios, where choices about personnel and play calling carry amplified consequences. Even small lapses can cascade into outcomes that define a season, emphasizing the critical nature of leadership and execution at the head coach level. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. In what could be one of the most shocking moves of the offseason, rumors are swirling that the Baltimore Ravens have secured superstar pass rusher KHALIL Mack, potentially reshaping the landscape of the NFL's defensive elite. While nothing has been officially confirmed, sources close to the organization suggest that the Ravens are aggressively pursuing every avenue to bring Mack to Baltimore, a city already renowned for its defensive identity. If this speculation holds true, the implications are staggering. The Ravens' front seven would instantly vault into a category few teams could rival, combining the ferocity of existing stars with Mack's relentless pressure on opposing quarterbacks. KHALIL Mack, a proven game-changer with multiple seasons of double-digit sacks and a reputation for being a disruptive force in both the run and pass game, would not just add depth but a level of dominance that could redefine how offenses approach the Ravens. Analysts are already buzzing about the potential matchups this unit could create. Imagine a front seven where speed, strength, and technique converge so seamlessly that even elite offensive lines might hesitate before running a play. The mere thought of Mack lining up alongside Baltimore stalwarts conjures visions of quarterbacks scrambling, tight ends in constant check-down mode, and running backs facing near impenetrable walls at the line of scrimmage. The move, if confirmed, would also send shockwaves throughout the league. Teams known for exploiting defensive weaknesses might have to rethink entire game plans, knowing that the Ravens' defensive front could overpower almost any formation. Meanwhile, the fans in Baltimore are reportedly ecstatic at the mere possibility of seeing Mack don the purple. and black. Social media chatter hints at a growing belief that the Ravens are not just looking to compete, they might be positioning themselves to dominate the league defensively in a way not seen in recent years. Of course, all of this remains speculation, and insiders caution that negotiations can be fluid, with no deal ever truly final until ink hits paper. Still, the mere rumor has sparked debates among commentators and fans alike. Could Mack and Baltimore's existing defensive stars form the most intimidating front seven in modern NFL history? The consensus among pundits seems to lean heavily toward yes, provided this acquisition comes to fruition. One thing is certain: if KHALIL Mack truly joins the Ravens, the NFL's offensive game plans are about to get a lot more complicated, and Baltimore's defense could become the benchmark against which all others are measured. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.